Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, without any further ado, we are going to go ahead and get started here. Screen share right here, slideshow. Okay, so yes, this is our November Our Revolution Howard County meeting. Thank you all for joining. I saw Alex from our group just called. If you want to reach out to him, make sure he doesn't have any trouble. But yes, this is our November monthly meeting. Thank you all for being here. Main topic of the night is exploring, the history of U.S. intervention in Haiti, but we've also got just some general club business stuff on the agenda before we get to that. Going to be going over, what a lot of our committees and working groups are up to, ways that people can get involved, and other things that the group kind of needs help with right now. So thank you all for being here. Some ground rules, first and foremost. If you are on Zoom, if you're not talking, please stay on mute just so it doesn't pick up background stuff. If you got something to say, during the middle of the meeting, you can use the hand raise feature, or, in person, raise your hand. Feel free to, got a comment to say, we want to hear from you. We're after we hear from our speaker with the Haiti event, there's going to be, comment period, Q&A, but we just ask if you have a question, keep it to a minute or less. And then, of course, as always, be respectful. And so usually, especially when there's new people, if this is your first meeting or you haven't been to a meeting in a long time, we usually have people kind of introduce themselves, who they are, where they live, how did you hear about this group or this event, and sort of what your interests are. And so I do see a couple new faces here, both on Zoom and in person. And so you don't have to introduce yourself if you don't want to, but if you're comfortable, would love to. And so I don't know if
Sure. Hi, my name is Jacob. I use Jacob pronouns. I live in Ellicott City. I heard about our revolution. I'm actually here for the this was about on the HoCo Free Palestine Center page. So let's talk about it. The issue I'm most interested right now is Free Palestine. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jacob, from fellow Jake here. Appreciate you coming. And yeah, Palestine is one of the main things that we have been involved with since, the genocide began, and we have no plans in stopping anytime soon. Howard County for Free Palestine has really been leading those efforts locally. And, this Haiti event is part of our attempt to, bridge it with international solidarity. So thank you for being here. Would you like to introduce yourself? Yeah. Thank you for joining. You said you heard about it from Alex. Oh, okay, okay, yes. Well, thank you for being here. And Ola, I know you, but I don't know if this is your first Our Rev meeting, and so if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, going Zoom. I'm Ola. I live in Elk Ridge. To Jake, and HoCo for Palestine. What am I interested in? Palestine, of course, Black liberation and international solidarity movements. Super excited to be here today and learning more about the Wicked.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ola, and I know you introduced yourself at the last meeting, and so thank you for being here from Baltimore County, right? Yes, and so love it when people even from out of Howard County, still find these events worth coming to. And I'm sorry, for the people on Zoom, I realize it might be hard to hear. We're working on getting better tech equipment so that we can actually pass around physical microphones so that people on Zoom can hear the audience. But that was the last of the in-person introductions, and so we'll go to the people on Zoom. Yeah, Miss Johnson.
Good evening. My name's Terry Johnson. I live around the corner from the library in Columbia, East Columbia. And I'm interested in learning more about Haiti because I would like to go there and do some volunteer work. And I heard about you guys from my daughter, Jamila.
Nice. Yes, she's spreading the word. Yes, thank you, Jamila. But yeah, well, thank you for being on. Oh, here's Alex. Yep, thank you. Yep, and I'm sorry, I can't see with how my things format. I can't see everybody who's on, but I think there's another new person, Kai, who might have called earlier. Do you want to introduce yourself, Kai? Although again, people don't have to.
Also M.
Okay, yeah. I think this is your first meeting too, and so if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Em. I grew up in Howard County. I'm currently in Columbia. I know about this meeting through Malik and Jake through the Howard County for Free Palestine group. And also Kai sent something in the chat for their.
Got it.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Check that.
Oh, and I'm here because I am interested in the group and I'm interested in learning more about Haiti as well.
That's okay. Kai just didn't want to come up.
Okay.
Like I said, they're from DC, heard about through Black Alliance for Peace.
Got it. Well, welcome, Kai. Thank you for being on. And so yeah, I think that should do it for introductions. My fellow co-chair and Francis's wife here, Kat, she is coming. She's actually testifying at a Columbia Association board meeting right now, so she is going to be here. But I'm one co-chair, Kat's the other co-chair. Vice Chair Ying. Normally we have these meetings second Monday of the month. Couldn't do that this month because of Veterans Day. And so all that say, normally Ying is here, but she works on Thursday nights, so she's not able to be here. Francis, the treasurer, Robert, secretary. Got some at-large members, including Malik and Sanad. And we do have one current and some other at-large members who aren't able to make it tonight, but we do have one vacancy on the at-large steering committee member. So if anybody is interested, and as you're about to see, a group does a lot with Palestine, but we also do a lot with other issues. And so, there's a lot of different ways that people can get involved if they want to be involved. And so, yes, Francis, if you want to present the no changes really since last month, right?
Yeah, no changes. Well, except let's see. We spent some money on food last time, but haven't gotten that reimbursed yet. Okay. And we are going to see if you and Robert are available this weekend. We can go back to the credit union and get the accounts.
Okay. Were we supposed to have done that last weekend and then we never did, or?
It was a busy week.
I'm not, yeah, my bad. I'm sorry, guys. But yes, okay. Well, thank you. And then also, if you want to, I know this is a little out of style now, all this Bernie stuff is definitely a different era then. But, if people do want to contribute, money to the group in a way where you also get something, we, again, kind of a different era, but, if you want some vintage Bernie stuff, we have some of that. But yeah, so real quick, before we, get to the main, entree of tonight's course, just want to share some of the committee work and work group work that our revolution has been doing between the monthly meetings. We do quite a bit. And so one issue that we're involved with right now, and there's actually a meeting, planning board meeting happening for this issue right now as we speak, but this international corporation, WR Grace, with a very bad track record of poisoning entire towns to the point where there's a John Travolta movie in the late 90s about it called A Civil Action. They happen to be headquartered here in Columbia. They filed for a permit for very controversial, they're calling it plastics recycling plant, but really the industry term is chemical recycling. It's don't quote me on this, but essentially, burning plastics and converting it into fuel. But there's a lot of data out there that it's very bad for the environment. Of course, WR Grace and Company is claiming that it's going to be good for, there's nothing to worry about. And there was just a new community developed right next to where they're trying to propose this. And so, given WR Grace's track record, residents are not buying that, and they are fearful about it given this industry's track record and this company's track record. And so our group has been involved with them, helping, get their message out, make connections with elected officials, help them introduce things that could potentially kill the project. And so one thing they did was introduce a zoning regulation amendment to change the zoning so that there needs to be an 1,800-foot buffer space between any residential homes and these, research and development activities that W.R. Grace wants to engage in. If this zoning regulation amendment did pass, it would basically kill the project because there wouldn't be anywhere on that property that they could do it that would be within or outside of that 1,800-foot buffer space. And so the planning board has a hearing tonight. Our Revolution submitted written testimony in support of the amendment. Not sure if it will pass because the planning board is controlled by the county council and county executive, which has taken a lot of money from W.R. Grace, but we've also got a few other coal irons in the fire, submitting, zoning complaints, and might also try to get a local clean air bill introduced. And so if people are, this fight's really only kind of just getting started. And so if people are interested in getting involved with this, there's a lot to do. And so please let us know. That's one fight we've been engaged in. We can move on to the next work group unless anybody has any comments, questions about that. Yeah, Ola.
Sounds, to the incineration crisis happening in South Baltimore, as part of the resolution, reached out to the community organizers down there just to get some.
Or no. I was just shaking my head to like show I'm comprehending what you're saying. But no, we have not done that. That is a good idea in the sense of if there is any connection between that. It is, there's one guy that the group is about to like basically hire as a consultant. His name's Mike Uall with a group called Energy Justice Network. He's actually lives in Philadelphia, but he has been involved for over 30 years fighting different incineration fights all over the country. And so he was involved. They got a bill passed in Baltimore City several years ago to shut down the Baltimore City incinerator. And then the incinerator sued the city of Baltimore, and basically the courts ruled with the incinerator company and said that both the Federal Clean Air Act and the State Clean Air Act doesn't allow localities to introduce stronger regulations. But this Mike Uall guy says that that was like a grave misreading of the state law. And so, again, one thing we're trying to do is pass a county clean air bill, which would not allow this to get done, but to make sure that the county clean air bill doesn't get struck down in court, just like the Baltimore City one did. We're also trying to get a state clarifying act that makes it abundantly clear. It's called like reaffirming localities' rights to pass clean air bill. And so like there is a tangential connection to the Baltimore City fight, but because of that tangential connection, that's a good idea. Maybe we should reach out to those people and see if, they'd be interested in or have any useful insights. And so good suggestion. And if you know anybody who's involved with that, please, but I'm sure the Mike Uall guy probably does too. But yes, no, thank you, Ola. I'm curious, like how many people was this their first time like hearing about this happening? Okay, so few people. Okay, good to know. But yeah, so that's our like newest thing that we've really taken on. But Malik has been leading the efforts with Palestine, and so hand it off to him.
Hi guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Malik. I am here to talk about all the various Palestine related issues that AREV has been working on. Now, these are just a handful of events. Every month we have at least 5 different events. So since our last meeting, we've had a bi-weekly visual, which of course we do bi-weekly. We show up with signs and whatnot, and we advocate for Palestine in an effort to raise awareness that, hey, this is not just an issue over there, this impacts us here, and there are people here in Howard County that you care about us, right? I think now more than ever it is important for us to continue to advocate and be visible in our advocacy for Palestine. Something else that we've done recently is we held a film screening here, I believe in this very room, on November 7th, 2024, of the movie investigating war crimes in Gaza. It was a film released by Al Jazeera. It's on YouTube for free. We had a good turnout. The movie was very, very hard to watch, but also very important because it talks about all the various war crimes that unfortunately mainstream media is not accurately telling us about. War crimes that Israel has been committing against Palestinian civilians. Again, this movie is free to watch on YouTube, and I highly recommend you guys watch it. Some upcoming events that we have on November 21st, we're going to be having some testimonies for the Human Rights Commission and for the Board of Education. This is an ongoing effort that our group has been doing with Howard County for Free Palestine, which is also another organization that myself and Jake are a part of. There's been discrimination against Palestinian American students and against allies. They've been censored while they were protesting. And, there's other issues related to Palestine that we regularly show up and testify about. We have community members whose children have been, censored. They've been discriminated against. And, when something like this happens, we as a community have to show up for one another because as the recent elections have showed us, no one in DC is going to come to rescue us. We have to help ourselves, right? And furthermore, we have a bi-weekly visual coming up again on the 24th. And I believe on November 23rd, we also have an event coming up where it is a day of healing. It will be our second day of healing. Given recent events, we want all our community members to come together and just be present with another to help us heal from all the trauma and the hardships that we've all witnessed and are going through. If any of this sounds interesting to you, then we highly encourage that you not just sign up, but after the meeting, pull one of us aside, ask us questions. We're all here for you guys. With all that being said, I'm going to pass the mic back to Jake.
Thank you, Malik. And, just as a reminder, yes, this event today, even though it's Our Revolution Howard County monthly meeting, given the nature of the main topic of the night of the Haiti event, this event is co-hosted with our friends at Howard County for Free Palestine. So thank you to that group for all the work that they've been doing, including with our work group has been able to contribute to. Yeah, so our sort of, sorry.
So the 24th, that's the rally, right?
Yeah, you got that. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But yes, but yeah, unless there are other, comments, questions about our Palestine work. But yeah, so another thing that our group has been engaged in for, well over a year on, and definitely one of the leaders in this is, we helped start a Howard County Rent Stabilization Coalition. We did get a rent stabilization bill introduced last year. Unfortunately, the bill died in January of this year. And so nonetheless, our coalition has still been active for the last year. We've pivoted to trying to build more tenant power so that we can get bills like this not only introduced, but actually passed. And so the way we're trying to build that tenant power is build tenant unions or tenant organizations, which is only in 2018, Howard County passed a county law allowing tenants to create official tenant organizations that give them extra legal rights and benefits and protections that they don't have as individual tenants. But even though that law was passed in 2018, to our knowledge, no tenants ever actually have taken advantage of it to create a real official tenant organization. And so that's what we've been engaged in for, since that bill died in January, is we, try to get tenants elected locally onto the Columbia Village boards. And we did get a tenant, Paulette Pettiford Thomas, elected on the Oakland Mills Village board. And so we began trying to form a tenant organization where she lives in Autumn Crest, but conditions are actually not that terrible there. And so we since pivoted to forming one also at Oakland Mills, but at a place called Columbia Point, where our coalition leader lives. And so happy to announce we are now almost nearly done that process. They're now having public tenant union elections, even if they're not official yet. They're doing public meetings. They'll actually have their next one this next Tuesday, November 19th, at the other barn in Oakland Mills, and they'll be nominating their officers. And they should be doing official officer elections in December. And, then we just need to continue gathering a bit more petition signatures from tenants to get 30% buy-in from units at that building. But all that say, hopefully by the end of the year, or at least January, we have the first tenant union in the county created officially, get some good press coverage. And then we're also connecting with tenants in other places like the Brook at Wild Lake and Falls River Terrace in Harper's Choice, as well as Harper House. We had a tenant when we did this tenant organization meeting back in August or September, had a tenant from Harper House in Harper's Choice who was very vocal, and we're still in connection with her. And so we want to finish the job at Columbia Point and Oakland Mills and hope that these tenant unions catch fire throughout the county. Really the snowball continues to roll from there. And then once we have enough of them, we can wage the rent stabilization fight and other fights. Again, we do what we do. We work on a lot of different issues. And so if people are interested in tenant organizing work, I think, this is the group, this is the coalition to do that with. And so let us know if you'd like to be involved with that. Before we move to our last, committee, and I know we're still waiting on, Erica from Black Lions for Peace, but we also have a video to play before that. But before we move to our last sort of working group, does anybody have any comments, questions about the tenant organizing stuff? Sounds like no. Okay, we are good to go. Got somebody on Zoom here.
Wow.
Good to see you, Hal. Good to see you. Last meeting was so good you had to come back. Good to see you. But yeah, so we were hoping that my co-chair Kat would be back by now. Our last working group is we have a Columbia Association Watch Committee. Kat ran for Wild Lake CA board last year and only lost by 18 votes, so she came very close to winning. She's continued to be active, pay attention, and so I'm hoping that she runs again come April. Again, she's testifying at a CA board meeting right now, and so I guess she's not here to be able to present what she was going to present. But they have CA board meetings every other Thursday, and so we don't have city councils here in Howard County, but the closest thing we do have is the Columbia Association. And so if you live in Columbia particularly, I would encourage you to get involved in these Columbia Association village boards. You might not think of it, but these are things where you could push for things like a ceasefire resolution and get it passed relatively easily. And so that's stuff that we want to continue doing in the future, and hopefully get good people like Kat elected to help with that. Looks like she had some updates about the budget. I won't try to recite it because I don't know as much as she does. But yeah, I think people are talking about raising the fee that Columbia residents have to pay for the Columbia Association. And I think there's disagreements on the board about, should we raise the fee? Should we not raise the fee? Kat also has a Substack where she's now, I think the tagline is, I watch the CA board so you don't have to, or something like that, because the meetings can be kind of boring. But if you want to stay up to date on what's going on in a really, unfiltered and truthful and honest way, Kat's Substack is a good way to do that. There's really hard to find information about this local stuff. So yeah, we just touched on some of the committees, but we've also got, those are the more thriving ones, but we've also got other ideas for committees that like haven't really gotten off the ground, but we would love to see them. I see Connor's walked in here, you know, myself, Connor and Sarah Pan, former steering committee member. We're in the beginning stages of trying to maybe get a Board of Education tracking committee off the ground. And so if that's up people's alley, please let us know. We could use some help with that. And, you know, there's some other ideas here, you know, union solidarity, anti-moms for liberty and combating fascism, county legislation, state legislation, electoral committee, community visibility and outreach, direct service, and Anna helps with planned social events for us, which we've got a day of healing, second day of healing coming up. So yeah, if you're interested in, you know, getting involved, you know, becoming a dues paying member, subscribing to our email list if you're already not on it, getting involved with one of these committees or work groups, encourage you to go on our link tree, can scan the QR code, and, you know, we've got a spreadsheet to, you know, join the work groups or whatever else, you know, got a lot of stuff on that link tree. So, thank you all for that. You know, and here's Kat, here's my co-chair here.
Perfect timing.
Yep. But hello. How'd it go at the CA?
They're not happy.
They're not happy. Well, you're causing good trouble, sounds like. So they need to shake things up. But yes, thank you, Kat. We actually just finished with the committee updates. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so you know, we were planning on, you know, putting out a response to some of this propaganda that the developers have been putting through op-eds in the public newspapers regarding this $140 million plus lakefront library, which does not actually add a new library to the county because it would tear down an existing library. Meanwhile, you know, Elkridge, where I'm from, still doesn't have a high school. $140 million could build a high school. The Office of Inspector General bill, or not bill, but it was a charter amendment on the ballot that passed with like 85% support. I think the last time we were in this room, it was for a town hall meeting about the Office of Inspector General, and so I was happy to see that. We also submitted public testimony in support of the Stop Grace Group's zoning regulation amendment, which again is having their public hearing for that at this day and time. And so in terms of what we could use help with, you know, our social media pages, we do a lot of cool stuff, but we don't always promote it as great as we could, and that limits our ability to get more people involved, have people know about it. So, you know, we could use help with running our social media, maybe helping with the website redesign, you know, booking us, you know, tabling events in the community, so that we can, you know, show up, recruit new members. And also just, you know, volunteering to help onboard new potential members. And so, yeah, so if any of these things are up your skill set, you know, please, we would love to help. My Wi-Fi wasn't working. I did have there was another flyer on here too, but in terms of upcoming events, we have there's a rally, you know, sort of an anti-Trump rally. You know, last month we did our event on, you know, how to prepare for another potential Trump presidency. That was actually Kat's idea. And when she suggested it several months ago, I was thinking it wasn't a real possibility because, you know, Kamala was really up in the polls. Boy, was I wrong and boy, was Kat right. And so I am glad that we did that as our topic next month and that we had these discussions. And I think, you know, what's different about this time in 26 versus 2016 when Trump won is that we as the left were largely not mobilized. And so we had to waste a lot of time learning how to organize and getting mobilized. Whereas this time we already are mobilized and have organized groups and don't have to learn these skills. And so we're trying to plan this rally, you know, to basically, for lack of a better term, you know, bring in some, you know, try to radicalize some normie liberals a little bit more, and, you know, make them really think about why did the Democratic Party just lose to Donald Trump for the second time in less than 10 years. Maybe it did have something to do with, unapologetically, backing a very unpopular genocide and just, consistently siding with corporate interests. And so our hope is that, people who maybe haven't come to these conclusions yet, but are open to them if the right person made them and they are exposed to the right perspective. We're hoping we can draw a lot of people like that in who are really unhappy, really upset, really worried about where the country's going, and also confused about how did we get here? How do we make sure nothing like this happens again? And so it's just Our Revolution, Howard County for Free Palestine on the flyer, but some other groups have opted in with interest to co-host, including Party for Socialism and Liberation. We also want to talk to Erica and Black Alliance for Peace about interest in co-hosting and other groups as well. And then we also have several other events coming up. I meant to put the graphic on the slide here, but again, my Wi-Fi wasn't working. But we'll send that out in an email. But just very quickly, it's a town hall event this upcoming Tuesday. Similar to this rally, it's called Trump is President, Now What? It's at the Howard County Central Library at 6:30. Here he's been taking lead on planning that. And so if you got it, and then on the day before the rally on November 23rd, if people are interested in this, town hall and growing the Green Party in Maryland at the Howard County Central Library at 2 p.m. on Saturday, the 23rd. So again, sorry we didn't have the graphic that lists all those events, but we will email that out to the list. And so now the moment you all have been waiting for. I'm sorry. Sorry to sit through the general business stuff. But before I, say anything on it, this was Malik's idea to do this event. And so and again, Erica's still not here, but we do have like a 13-minute long short video on the subject that we're gonna watch. And then Erica, is gonna share additional comments. And so, Erica, she texted us a picture on the road. She is on the way. She just got caught in traffic. And so Malik can, set up why he wanted to do this event, and we could watch the video, and hopefully Erica, joins us by then. But yeah.
Thanks, Jake. So I don't know about you guys, but personally speaking, when I first heard all those horrible stereotypes that were flying around in the news about Haitian Americans, it made me feel some sort of way. And I do have to admit, not the most educated about the history of Haiti. Before that, I did some very light reading on the topic, but nowhere near as much where I could possibly by myself pull the whole presentation about it. So as I was listening to people talk about, hey, ever since these rumors came out, people have been asking me, like randomly coming up to me and asking, do you eat dogs or cats? And other people were sharing stories about how they were being harassed and whatnot. And, it really upset me being an immigrant myself and whatnot, and being a human being, right? Regardless of whether you're born here or not, this should not be something that you're comfortable with. And as I was reading these stories, watching the news, I realized, hold on, I'm part of an organization. I have a microphone that I could use to, talk about this topic. I teamed up with Jake and the rest of Our Revolution. They introduced me to Erica, who's a member of Black Alliance for Peace, who's much more educated on this topic than myself. And my personal hope from this event is that we all learn something and we all use what we learned to push back against all these horrible, stereotypes, all the hate crimes that Haitian Americans are going through right now. And with all that being said, without further ado, I think we are going to start the movie. The only thing I'll say is education is key, but regardless of how educated you are, if you don't take action, it really doesn't mean anything, right? So I want everyone to hopefully, ask around your family members, friends, and see if there's anything you can do on a personal level to push back against these sort of things. Especially now that we're entering a second Trump presidency. I'm sure we all remember how crazy the first one was, right? So with that being said, I think we can start the movie now.
Yeah, yeah, we're pulling it up. 1 second, we're gonna put the link in the chat. Oh, here's Erica. Yes,
Perfect
yes,
timing.
just in time, just in time. Hello, hello. No worries, no worries. We spend probably too much time on the general business stuff at the beginning. So we actually only just got to the Haiti portion of the meeting anyways. And so Malik, whose idea it was, just kind of like set up, why he wanted to do this event. And so we're about to start playing the video. So take your time, get settled. Don't know if you had a chance to watch the video already, but if you want to add any additional commentary on the video. And then also the video, I should preface, is from 2010. And so it's not historic, but it's not new either. And so there's probably a lot that's happened since then. And so yes, thank you for joining us here, Erica. And we can test the video real quick and play it here and make sure that the people on Zoom can hear it. But just in case they can't, we're also going to put the Zoom link in the the Zoom chats, and then we can all, if you're at home, we can time it so that the people on Zoom start the video at the same time that we start in here, so that it.
Give it a try on there. and
Yep.
see
Okay.
if
So we're gonna try it first, just on our computer, and see if that is good enough, though, and that might work. Okay. And the video that we're gonna be watching is called So people on Zoom, could you hear that? I was just played the video for like 4 seconds. Were you able to hear that video?
They said no.
They said no. Okay, so yes. All right. Well, then we're putting the Zoom link. I'm sorry, we're putting the YouTube video link in the Zoom chat, and then we'll do a countdown, and then we'll all start the video at the same time so that we all finish the video at right.
You can present the video.
It's the audio is not going through to the Zoom
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, we'll screen share the video. I mean, right now it is screen shared as far as I know, and so they can see this, but yeah, the audio they won't hear. So, did you put the link in there?
Which links in the
Cool.
chat?
So yeah, I'll give people like 30 seconds or so to pull up the YouTube video.
Oh, the screen share.
You should do screen share and also audio.
Oh, are we not screen sharing?
Yes, that's the problem.
Okay.
I totally missed that.
I used to do this.
Right here. I'll let you figure it out. Okay.
Brain's not working.
Yes, we'll mute the mic. Got it. Sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't.
that's
screen
where it
sharing.
was.
Okay, there we go.
Uh,
Sorry about
should
that,
double
folks.
screen share.
No. Yeah.
And then the
You should be able to do audio shares.
Yep.
yeah.
There we go.
Okay, hold on just a sec. That's where the button. Yeah.
There it is.
No, that's not it.
No, it's on under more.
Share computer sound. There it is.
There we go. Thank you, guys.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna test it one more time. All right, Zoom. That work?
Yeah.
Just say yes. Okay. All right. Thank you for bearing with us here. We got it, guys.
As the media.
And I should add, the Real News Network, they're an independent news outlet, actually based out of Baltimore. But yes, this is a rather old video at this point, from 2010, and it's the context is Danny Glover was in the production of like a documentary or a film about the guy who led the slave rebellion that ended up being the formation of the state of Haiti. I'm not sure if the film from Danny Glover actually came out, but respect to Danny Glover for trying in the first place. I didn't know he was woke like that. But yeah, okay, all right, I'm gonna start it.
As the media coverage of the Haitian earthquake nears completion of its second week, one thing has become abundantly clear.
The island nation of 10 million is one of the poorest countries on earth.
Haiti was already the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere before the earthquake struck.
8 out of every 10 Haitians are living in poverty. Less than a third of them have formal jobs. Most get by on less than $2 a day.
The Real News spoke to Danny Glover, actor, activist, and director of the upcoming film Toussaint, which depicts the life of Toussaint Louverture, a key leader in the Haitian Revolution.
Why is there poverty in Haiti? And there's outlining reasons why there's poverty, many reasons why there's poverty. We have to understand this history. If we don't understand the history, we're bound to have a misinterpretation and blame it primarily on the victim. Certainly, and this victimization, this blaming it on the victim, is something that we become very good at, doing, in this crisis. And that is, in some sense, to leave ourselves on our own responsibility.
Certain media outlets have attempted to explain how Haiti came to be so poor. Pat Robertson caught the attention of many with his atrocious account.
They got together and swore a pact to the devil. They said, "We will serve you if you'll get us free from the French." It's a true story. And so the devil said, "Okay, it's a deal." And they kicked the French out. The Haitians revolted and got themselves free. But ever since, they have been cursed by one thing after the other, desperately poor.
Haiti changed the way people work. We used to have a workforce called free workforce, where people see you on the street, they look at your color of the skin, and then they brought you to work for free. That's what the slavery system. And because of my parents, that's changed today. Haiti play a role in the world, Pat. You can't forget that. You cannot take that away from us. If it is that, because of that, you said, we have a curse, we have a contract with the devil. No, my friend. We got the freedom from God, because God created everybody equal.
But while most of the media refrained from claiming secret deals with Satan, the dominant explanation for the poverty was the same as Robertson's, that Haiti's misfortunes must be the result of some kind of supernatural damnation.
There's an old saying that goes, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. It's an expression that certainly seems to apply to the people of Haiti.
This is a country that was created as a result of slaves revolting against the control of colonial powers.
The French.
The French. And they never really were able to move away from to have a functioning state in an effective way.
The birthplace of voodoo and land of the zombie, Haiti appears to be a nation cursed.
The Real News spoke to Peter Hallward, author of Damming the Flood, Haiti, Aristide, and the Politics of Containment.
The role that journalists tend to be comfortable with when they come to talk about Haiti is in the role of the victim. If you ask why are the Haitians so poor and why are they presented then constantly as the poorest nation in the hemisphere and so on, which is true, it is the poorest nation in the hemisphere. It has to do with three factors, all of which are a function really of Haiti's independence and the strength of its people. The first is the fact that they became independent by overcoming slavery themselves, and the consequence of that was a war that killed a third of the population, that left the country in ruins, and then left it isolated by an international embargo that was designed to quarantine the country and destroy its economy.
The United States placed a blockade on Haiti immediately after its independence, a blockade that essentially lasted for 60 years. Only after the Emancipation Proclamation here, when it became safe to recognize Haiti as a legitimate country.
Under embargo and the threat of invasion from France, Haiti was forced to pay 150 million gold francs to France for the loss of property, namely slaves. This was eventually reduced to 90 million, the equivalent of more than $21 billion today.
And they were paying that debt off, right through to 1947.
19 of those years were passed under a brutal U.S. military occupation.
15 United States Marines land in Haiti to battle Haitian bandits, threatening destruction of American properties.
The voodoo ceremonies in Haiti were against the law, were they?
Yes, they were considered against the law.
But they went on nevertheless?
Yes, they had them all, usually, of course, out in the country, away from all officials. Dancing and howling and whooping and various other things. In fact, sometimes it looked like they were very dangerous.
Was the island of Laganaw considered a very dangerous post?
Yes, it was considered very dangerous. In fact, they never kept anyone there over 6 months. The people were considered savages, and the place very unhealthy.
So a big reason why Haiti's poor has to do with the fact that they fought for their freedom and won it rather than receive it. Second reason is the price the Haitian small farmers in particular, the majority of the population, were forced to pay for refusing to follow a dominant trend in world history, which was the one that saw small farmers pushed off their land in all parts of the world, starting in Europe and later in Europe's colonies, into slums where they could be exploited by industry. And that didn't happen in Haiti until much later than other places because Haitian farmers were determined to resist it. And so that provoked a reaction in the form of a very severe neoliberal plan backed up by extremely violent forms of paramilitary coercion, the army and the tonton macoutes that the Duvalier dictators developed to push this process through. And the result then was, very severe level of exploitation and impoverishment, particularly in the countryside.
And essentially, what he did was orchestrated or oversaw a policy of creating jobs, low-paying jobs, sweatshop jobs, which then facilitate some of the export component of the Haitian economy at the expense of developing the agricultural part of the economy. Now, Haiti had been self-sufficient in rice up until the 1970s, forcing them into these urban areas and trying to find some place to live, building facilities, building homes, living in spaces that shouldn't be inhabited, don't have any, they're very weak in structure. And so this exasperates the situation when you have either a hurricane or you have, in this situation, an earthquake of over 7 points.
When Papa Doc died, his 19-year-old son, known as Baby Doc, replaced him. Baby Doc followed the same principles as his father, as laid out in this 1972 interview with 60 Minutes.
The aim of my government is to increase the volume of foreign investment and at the same time to promote the development of tourism.
He ruled with an iron fist for 15 years before a popular uprising forced him out of office. When the Duvalier dictatorship is mentioned in earthquake coverage, the support they received from Western powers is habitually left out.
So that was the second reason why Haiti's poor. And a third has to do with the political steps that they took to try and fight this neoliberalism precisely by electing a government that could represent a political alternative to neoliberalism. So a popular movement develops in the 1980s to fight this tendency, and it elects a government on an anti-neoliberal agenda in 1990. And the story of Haiti ever since has been really, I think, driven by the measures taken by the international community and by the small Haitian elite to force that government and to force this popular movement into accepting this neoliberal plan that has directly resulted in the impoverishment of the great majority of its people.
This has included US-backed coups against the Aristide government in both 1991 and 2004. In recent years, however, Canada has largely taken over the role of undermining Haitian democracy. This according to Canadian independent journalist and author of Canada in Haiti, Anthony Fenton.
From the moment Aristide was reelected in 2000 until he fled, was kidnapped from Haiti in 2004, Canada played a deliberate role undermining, following in lockstep with U.S. policy, starved it of loans, they starved it of being able to fulfill their democratic mandate. They empowered Haiti's elite, fueled a disinformation campaign, and then in an unprecedented way, Canada played a leadership role as a regional imperial power, propping up an illegitimate regime from 2004 to 2006, imposing the neoliberal agenda that they tried for so long to impose on Haiti. And this is the new face of Canada. This is Canada for the 21st century.
Canada has also supported the post-coup criminalization of the Famille Lavalas party, but it has been the UN, headed by the Brazilian military, that has been largely tasked with policing the social movement.
Its main purpose has been to coerce the population into accepting the consequences of the coup. You've got to remember, the coup in 2004 overthrew a government that had been elected with a massive majority. It had at least 75% or so of the vote. It won 90% of the seats in parliament. And by all credible accounts, that government would remain, and if it could be elected again tomorrow, it would be. So What the UN's main job has been is to provide massive, overwhelming military and police presence to basically force the population into accepting it. And particularly in 2005 and 6, that's what the UN did. It patrolled Port-au-Prince, treated the population like a hostile force, and on a couple of notorious occasions went in and attacked groups of people who were some of Aristide and Lavalas' most ardent supporters, and killed dozens of them.
In 2009, former U.S. President Bill Clinton took over as the UN Special Envoy on Haiti.
And the people of Haiti had an economic development plan that I was helping them to implement, and we're going to go back to it once the smoke clears.
The plan, known as U.S. Hope 2, continues the neoliberal logic of keeping Haiti competitive in textile production. This plan was in action in the summer of 2009 when Haitian President René Préval vetoed a bill that would have raised the minimum wage to $5 per day.
So here's the question. Why can't a country like Haiti catch a break? Go to CNN.com/Cafferty file.
This political and historical story is then recast as a kind of natural condition, as if Haiti is a place that is naturally poor, naturally undemocratic, and so on, when it has precisely been made to be such, in large part by foreign interference.
In 2003, there was a closed-door conference in Montreal, Canada, that brought together representatives from numerous countries to discuss Haiti's future. Not a single Haitian was invited, and Canadian journalist Michel Vastel broke the story that attendees had reached consensus that Aristide had to go. And just over 1 year later, Aristide found himself on a U.S. plane being flown into exile in the Central African Republic. He has not been allowed back to his country since. On Monday, the same countries will be meeting in Montreal once again for the Friends of Haiti conference. AFP reports that the meeting is, quote, expected to affirm the central role of the United States in post-quake Haiti, already illustrated by its massive military presence and relief efforts there. By the time the meeting starts on Monday, 20,000 U.S. troops are expected to be on the ground. Despite recent calls to repay the $21 billion that France extorted from post-revolution Haiti, French President Nicolas Sarkozy joined the chorus in blaming Haiti's misery on the supernatural, saying that Monday's conference should be, quote, a chance to get Haiti once and for all out of the curse it seems to have been stuck with for such a long time. Without either an acknowledgement of the roots of Haiti's poverty, nor a democratic and sovereign Haitian government to oversee reconstruction, one wonders whether the new Haiti can possibly serve the interests of Haitians.
Yeah, there it is. Hope people enjoyed. Hope people learned. This is my second time watching, but I learned a lot the first time, and so I want to hand it off to Erica if you want to introduce yourself and share your thoughts on that and in general.
She should sit.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. In the mic, this is the mic. It should pick you up if you just talk like at a normal level. Sorry.
No problem. Good?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, hello everyone. First, I would like to thank you for inviting me. This I think will be the second time that I've been invited to have a conversation related to some of the work that Black Alliance for Peace does. My name is Erica Caines. I am currently the member coordinator and field operations coordinator, I suppose, of Black Alliance for Peace. So I am, delegate a lot of the organizing that goes on structurally within BAP. But I'm also a co-coordinator of the Haiti Americas team. And I have been with the Haiti Americas team since inception. It initially started as a committee of the Africa team because a lot of the work that does is around AFRICOM. We just ended the month of action in October, which was about raising the issues of AFRICOM and getting people to understand what it is and how it connects to what's happening to you here. And that is similar to what we do with the Haiti Americas work. it is the Haiti Americas team, primarily because we understand Haiti to be the laboratory, so to speak, in what's happening in that region. They named a few things without, I think at the time, the core group was not officially established, but that meeting in Canada is what they are talking about. After that meeting, the core group was established. The core group includes Canada, the US, France, Brazil, um, and other nations that are not Haiti. Haiti is not represented. And currently, what we see happening in Haiti as of now is that the core group makes a lot of decisions for Haiti's governance. So there's no self-determination and no sovereignty. They noted 2010 when 2004 when they removed Aristide, the second time when they put him on a plane. And that is when the start of MONUSTA, which is the operation that they're discussing alongside with the UN, started. MONUSTA was said to have ended a few years ago, but it has been replaced by what is called BNU, which is the exact same countries with the UN involved. So I'm just going to go back a bit. They do talk about the revolution. I think the Haitian Revolution is an infamous revolution. It's something that has inspired not only Africans worldwide, but in Latin America. If you look at most of the flags in Latin America, they have the colors of Haiti. That is to represent a lot of Bolivar's appreciation for all that the Haitians have done in terms of their own revolutions and independence movements. Which is why we understand Haiti to be central in the way that we discuss the rest of the Latin American countries, primarily because Haiti is only discussed in terms of that revolution. So Haiti has a timestamp on it. So after 1804, there's no real consideration or investment in Haiti's history, what's happening to Haiti contemporarily, the governance of Haiti or lack thereof. There's just no conversation around Haiti unless you hear something derogatory about Haitians and that ends up in mainstream news, unless you hear about gangs, right? And then that becomes the mainstream news, unless a few white people visit Haiti and go missing. But other than that, there's no conversation around what is happening to Haiti and who is in control of what's happening to Haiti. And I say that to say, I think it was loosely mentioned in terms of how they became or how Papa Doc comes into reign, but what is never discussed or what is under discussed is that Haiti has been occupied from 1915 to 1930. I want to say 1930, 1931. And that occupation was a U.S. occupation. So at that time, even post-independence, FDR was able to come in, rewrite Haiti's constitution that says white people are not allowed to own land. And then there was an influx of more capture of Haiti during that time occupation. It's also important to note that what's happening or what has been the conversation, I think, mainstream wise, in terms of the canal dispute with DR, a lot of that dispute is because that treaty was written at the time of Haiti occupation. So if Haiti is occupied, how valid is that treaty? So that is where a lot of that conflict comes into play. But I mentioned that specific occupation to say that Haiti since has been under a sort of colonial capture. And it has been unrecognized as a colonial capture because of Haiti's infamous independence, the revolution. So it's very hard for people to understand that Haiti could find itself in a predicament of colonialism or what is assumed colonial capture after Haiti has, deemed itself free, the first free Black nation, etc. And this again is the cause of people not paying too much attention to what is occurring. There's a video online on YouTube that you can find of Fred Hampton speaking to a class dynamic. There's some brothers that come up to Fred Hampton and they want to open a Black bank and they want to do Black business. And he was simply saying, if we're not careful, we'll have a bunch of Papa Docs and Baby Docs here. So what he was speaking to was that neocolonial sort of capture that was happening at that time, where the US and the Western nations were able to, and still do, install puppet leaders that benefit them. I think the picture or the image with Rockefeller was pretty interesting. I never seen that, but I think that speaks to exactly what was occurring at the time. But then also both, I think Baby Doc, they were able to flee into France and live the rest of their life happily and with the money, Baby Doc and his mother in the midst of all of this. What we're seeing right now in terms of conversations around refugees and immigrant crisis, even having Bill Clinton up there is a little funny. In 1991, there was the first removal of Aristide, who was the first democratically elected um, prime minister of Haiti. They had not had one before. Like I said, Papa Doc and Baby Doc, his son, they had long decades of reign, and neither were elected. They were installed. And now we have a first democratically elected prime minister, and he gets removed the first time. But during that time, there was the sort of heightened scare tactics around Haitians and Haiti. There was a Haitians bring AIDS and all this other fear mongering language around why we should be fearful of Haiti. And what the result of that is what we know as Guantanamo Bay today initially started with Haitians. That is where they were putting Haitian immigrants during the time in the early 90s, at the end of Bush, at the beginning of Clinton. So that, again, these things are under discussed. That we have the INS throughout the 90s, which was a travesty. AOC doesn't think so, though. She thinks we should bring that back. But INS it was an immigration policy that deeply affected the Caribbean diaspora population, mainly in major cities like New York City, which incarcerated immigrants and undocumented people, some still to this day, but for decades behind paperwork. They talked about 2004, and I touched up on that a bit about how the core group was installed and how they came to be, and the role that they play. But I want to kind of shift us into today because I think they give good context in terms of some of the history, some of the language around Haiti. But there were some things that I did want to speak to directly in terms of the poorest nation. Haiti is called the poorest nation in the hemisphere, not dissimilar from Yemen, right? Without any conversation around the why. Why is Haiti the poorest nation? How does Haiti have all these resources, rich in resources, but it is the poorest nation? But again, Haiti, to the point about neoliberalism, they have purposely kept wages low. And there has been a lot of privatization around the land, a lot of selling off the land. There was a policy around pigs where Haitian Black pigs, they were not allowed to use their Black pigs. It's the fact they were getting pigs imported, which changed the landscape of how they do share land cropping and farming and things like that, which is majority live in rural areas and not predominantly in Port-au-Prince, which is the capital city. And just like today, they talked about the particular kind of violence that's an uptick. But again, to that point, that's the only time people speak about Haiti. And they use the violence in Haiti as a sort of Trojan horse to continue to further occupy. And what we're finding ourselves today is that Haiti is currently occupied by Kenyan forces, and not just Kenyan forces. I think Ecuador is coming this week. Bahamas has vowed to send some, Peru, Jamaica. And there's this idea that, again, Haiti cannot govern itself. There's so much gang violence. It's rife with gangs. And there's no conversation about how and why. So one thing that's important to know is that there's no gun manufacturing facilities in Haiti, right? So all of these guns are being brought into Haiti. And if you look at the EA documents in the last 5 years, they can trace it back directly to Miami, having shipped all of these guns into Haiti. Also, when you look at where the concentrated violence is, it is in the capital city of Port-au-Prince, but it's also around not just the UN embassy, which is the second largest in the world, which we have to ask why, but also around the ports. And the ports are owned by elites, they're owned by Saudis, they're owned by the government. And these are where they are protecting, right? So there is a dispute around whether or not these gangs are quote unquote revolutionary forces. But I think that that's an internal thing that Haitians are dealing with in terms of how they're understanding these gangs and how they're understanding and interpreting this violence. I think what is important for us in terms of how we are seeing these gangs is not repeating this similar language, because just like how they say here, in terms of violence or the rise in crime, to then further push policing initiatives or incentives like cop cities and more occupation and more weapons and more training, et cetera, et cetera. They use the terminology of gangs, which really, if you pay attention to what's occurring and where it's occurring, really serve as paramilitary forces, as like they name, because of where they're protecting and who they're protecting, because it's not like they're not killing the elites, they're targeting the workers. I think it's important to understand those kind of dynamics as one and the same or very similar in terms of the narratives that are at play and how those narratives are used and to what purpose those narratives are used for. To that point, there is a Global Fragilities Act policy that was written under Trump, supported by CBC members. And what is that? And then, Biden goes on to expand and further support it. But what the GFA, the Global Fragilities Act, names is that Haiti is a testing ground for fragile states. So they're using this sort of policy to usher in NGOs and soft power, in addition to using the USAID in partnership to facilitate how they're going to manage and maintain fragile states. And the idea is to start off with Haiti and then expand to the western coastal region of Africa, which all happens to be nations that surround the AES, which is the Alliance for Sahelian States, which is a project that is happening on the continent in terms of the developing or moving towards federation and independence as a collective of states. So right now that includes Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. And where Global Fragilities Act is setting up is in Gambia and Ghana, Togo, and those areas that kind of surround those countries. And they're using NGOs. And just like they named with Aristide, I think it's important because they do not speak about the sort of color revolution aspect of the removal of Aristide, that they made the removal of Aristide seem like it was a youth sort of revolutionary, organic movement, that the youth were tired of Aristide. They didn't want Lavalas. They were pushing back against it. So this was the US supporting the youth movement. And we could see that rinse and repeat, Cuba, Ukraine. There's plenty of instances of these sort of color revolutions where we see that play out, but it's specifically in Haiti. And I think that that's important to note as we're watching them use Haiti, not just as a testing ground for the Caribbean and Latin America, but now also for Africa. And the Global Fragilities Act mirrors Biden's Safer Americas Act, insofar as they're looking for these sort of fragile communities to usher in nonprofits, to usher in more policing, et cetera, et cetera. So those are ways that we need to start to look at how we can connect to our struggles to Haiti and why we need to be more invested in what's happening to Haiti. Because currently, there's no government in Haiti. There's no government in Haiti. Last summer, Kamala Harris, along with Hakeem Jeffries, they went to a CARICOM conference to try to persuade CARICOM nations to sign on to this potential occupation, because the U.S. could not be seen doing it again because of the last occupation with the UN. So they went back to, they went to Mexico. Mexico said no. They went to Canada. Canada said no. Nobody wants to be seen leading this because of the aftermath of what happened. And then so they went to the Caribbean. And who was also invited was Rwanda, Mozambique, and Kenya. And Kenya took the bait for the 100 million and also a special dinner with Biden. That was on the promise as well. And so Kenya is now occupying Haiti. And this is in the context of what has been occurring with Kenya, the struggle against the Kenyan government for these IMF policies that they keep approving, in lieu of their own workers, the brutality of the Kenyan police against their own people inside of Kenya. That is who's being sent, who has been sent to Haiti to occupy. And it has not been an easy thing to happen. It has been a struggle. This was something that was approved by the UN Security Council. Thank you. The UN Security Council last October, and the Kenyans did not touch ground until May. Right. So there's been a lot of issues in terms of how safe it was for Kenyans to land, because obviously nobody wants to be occupied. So there was a large struggle and pushback against that. But then also the payment to get to Kenya was not going through. And then Ariane Ree was practically disposed. And I don't like to say he was removed from office, because one would have to be voted into office. Like, there was no diplomatic process. He was installed. So essentially the people who put him there took him out. And all of that was happening at the time Kenya was set to touch ground, which made it a little more complicated. But they are there now. Not only are they there, significant parts of land in Haiti has been set aside and used to house the Kenyans while they're there. In addition to that, there's reports that Kenyan workers are underpaid or have not received any pay. So what does that mean when you are not paid, have not been paid, and you have to deal with a bunch of people who you do not speak that language? Like, what are the conditions that we are setting up to happen here? And I don't want to say we, because I am not a part of this. The US is setting up to happen in Haiti. And because right now there is a special presidential council, I believe, that they have created with not much Haitian representation, I'd say that. And the conditions for which this council was set up was that they all had to agree on a particular path of installing the next, well, that they will agree to who the US or the core group picks. So they don't really have any particular say in what's happening because there's no governance. There's no prime minister. I think they tried to install one recently, and then that went awry, and the president council, because there's no checks and balances, swiftly removed him. So there's a lot of chaos in terms of the governance of Haiti, and this is a result of the lack of self-determination and sovereignty. And this is not the result of not any sort of how can I phrase this? Any sort of conditions of struggle on the part of Haitians. They have and consistently have been fighting back and pushing back against this. But again, there is no real focus enough on Haiti in terms of how the Caribbean is discussed, how Latin America is discussed, how the region is discussed. And there's no consideration to the importance of Haiti geopolitically, but also strategically as where it's placed, right? The reason why there has been this over 100-year colonial capture of Haiti, is because Haiti is a significant piece of land, right? That they want to be able to control and maintain. But then there's also, the valid concept that, there's still anger after all of these years that Haiti freed itself, right? And how dare Haiti free itself? And we can kind of see that in a lot of independence movements, this sort of how dare you, the audacity of you kind of get back that the West has. But in Haiti in particular, we see that play out. And for me, the issues around Haiti and how Haiti is discussed, that Haiti gets kind of thrown into a duopoly sort of conversation, even as late. And you can also say Puerto Rico kind of caught that too, where there are policies that both parties, both parties are complicit in, right? But I think the rhetoric, or the overt sort of racist rhetoric of one versus the overt racist policies of the other, I think that's what it's weighed against, right? Where people are more alarmed at what is said about Haitians, which is a consistent thing. Like I said, that I'm from New York City, I'm from Brooklyn. I've heard things said about Haitians my whole life. in this country. So this is not an anomaly, or this is not something that is just occurring. But I think that it has been used as a way to sort of scapegoat, like a look over here, don't look over here kind of thing, right? Because we would see on MSNBC, Al Sharpton do a whole segment about this sort of racist rhetoric. But what we don't hear is that Al Sharpton, in his he's having donation drives for occupation of Haiti. He is a meeting with other sort of Black misleadership class or Black political figures to discuss what are we going to do with Haiti. So he has an investment in this occupation, but he's also on MSNBC for for an hour discussing how bad it is what JD Vance is saying. So I think that that's the kind of way that Haiti kind of gets tossed up, right? And then Haiti also becomes a nonprofit incentive, right? It becomes a condition of human rights and not a crisis of imperialism. And I think we can see that also with Sudan and Palestine and Congo, the way that there's a human rights aspect to it that does not touch to the root of the issue. Certainly, there's a lot of human rights issues, but and again, those human rights issues at the root and the foundation is not born of Haitians. It is not born of Haiti. That is something that's being implemented and put on to Haiti. But the core or the primary contradiction is that because the need for Western hegemony or the expansion of Western hegemony or the control or continuation of it, and we see that not just with Haiti in that region, but Nicaragua, Cuba, Venezuela, Bolivia, Peru, nation after nation, where there is an investment in regime change. There is an investment in sort of washing away these years of a pink tide, criticism notwithstanding. There is an investment of the maintaining of the Monroe Doctrine and seeing this region as the backyard. And what has happened in these sort of leftist spaces is that Haiti is left out of that conversation. And so what we try to do at Black Alliance for Peace is put Haiti back in that conversation. And we put Haiti back in that conversation by talking about the Organization of American States that Nicaragua just put out, right? That also is controlling the electoral process in Haiti or lack thereof, or breaking up political incentives to have committees and groups where they can discuss where they can discuss the concept of what it is to build or to start an electoral process, because they want to actually engage in diplomatic processes. They want to actually have a self-determining route forward. But it is all being sort of cast away with the same continuous language of Haiti cannot govern itself. Haiti or Haitians are ungovernable, and that Haiti needs to be occupied for its own good. And what we're seeing with countries like Kenya and these CARICOM countries that are African Black countries is that they have taken on the idea that it is better for them to do it than the whites, right? So occupation for them is just it looks better under us than it would under, the white people, which you have seen for years. So let's take a stab at it. And that is a narrative that is being sort of passed around in the Caribbean, that we are doing something for Haiti by not allowing Haitians to decide anything for themselves. That's Mia Motley's role currently. And she is, like Lula, is painted as a progressive, but everyone's a progressive up until the point of Haiti. Because when we talk about Brazil's occupation of Haiti in 2004, Lula was in charge. And Haiti was Lula's stepping stone into the sort of bigger field of being in these worldly conversations, being on the world stage. Haiti was how Lula got there. And that was presented to the same way in AMLO, in Mexico, the same way it was presented to CARICOM, which is Mia Motley's position now. So Haiti is used in that way. CARICOM has been in existence since, I want to say, the 70s. Haiti became a CARICOM member in the 2000s. So this is just to say how not just the US, not just the West, but the region, who was also, by the way, because CARICOM is beholden to the West. A lot of CARICOM existence is about how do we fairly trade with one another and coexist so that we can equally bring in Western money, tourism, etc. So CARICOM exists as a way to figure out paths of diplomacy among themselves. So it makes it easier for them to get Western dollars, makes it easier for them to get Western deals. Because if they're all in conflict and turmoil, then people are going to turn away. So how do we get the investment here? So that's the role CARICOM plays. CARICOM has no real sort of role in terms of, no, don't come here, let's defend Haiti, let's protect Haiti. CARICOM is protecting of its own objectives and interests, which is different from a CLAC. But again, with these sort of bodies of political figures, what we see is that one year we might get lucky and have a progressive leading it, and then one year we might not. So whoever's leading it makes a decision about how far they will and will not go, depending on Haiti. So there are people, the current leader of Honduras, when she was the head of CELAC, she had pushed that Haiti have its own self-determination and Haiti decide for itself. She was met with some struggle within CELAC because the language of CELAC that's coming out of CELAC is that they will follow the request of the prime minister. But he's illegitimate. Nobody voted it in. So there's no even conversation around that. The same ways that when Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela were left out of the Summit for the Americas in 2002. Excuse me, 2022, most recently in California when they came back to LA. And there was a hard stance against that, but nobody cared that Ariel Henry was in LA representing Haiti. And he was in CELAC representing Haiti. And when he came back, he couldn't land that plane because they had enough. So that's where we're at with Haiti. It is a continuous ongoing struggle, but it is not a lost struggle. There is a strong workers' movement, which one could argue sort of set the ball rolling on a lot of this. It is a women's-led labor movement. They talked about the sort of how they kept the wages low by textiles and things like that. There's countless protests against Levi's that has manufacturing companies there. There's countless, and again, women-led protests, which is why you see a lot of the attacks or violence is women-based, because these are the strongest forces in the labor movement, because these are the actual workers that are existing because of the social dynamics of Haiti as well. So a lot of the women take on a lot of the labor roles, and they are also the ones who are suffering the most of the abuse and the gang violence, which again is seemingly around protecting the ports and the elites and their best interests. So I'll stop there.
Your point about the Haiti being a lab for imperial exploitation, like issue of the National Bank of Haiti. That was created in 1880s in Paris. And it was the only one issuing the currency, legal tender of currency. And I mean, since then, we're talking about 1880.
Yeah.
It is still being used today and links directly with what's happening in the Sahel region, for example, the colonial African franc.
Yeah.
Which they're trying to get rid of right now. And I mean, also, this is the prototype for the IMF policies of the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, and sanctions too. Because Haiti has also in the 90s, post the removal of Aristide, has been sanctioned, which has caused a devastation for women and children throughout the country. So we see these conditions, like to say that it's the poorest nation, right? And the emphasis on that really does sort of predetermine, already sets in the mind of the people that, sure, I mean, why wouldn't they eat dogs and stuff, right? They are the poorest nation, they do voodoo, they brought all this among themselves, like it's only natural that they would do this too. And I think that is the sort of propaganda that both sides play into, because it validates the policy around Haiti and the continuous policy around Haiti.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, I'm talking about like in terms of the duopoly. Like there has not been one president that has not had, oh, sorry. Yeah, well, yeah, true. But there has not been one president even post FDR, that has not taken this particular stance on Haiti. But I understand what you're saying. Yes.
First and foremost, thank you so much for all the information. As someone who studied African, primarily in Africa, like, yeah, this is all bringing to be the West playbook, but I also love the, not love, that's an odd word, but appreciated, talking about like Brazil and Kenya and states that you don't often think about as being occupying places, part of the history. I think it's really unfortunate kind of seeing both in the video and kind of what you touched on, like the magical Negro trope and then like the brute trope coming together and making it so that like there is a constant humanization that leads to justification of violence. The idea of like you're inherently bad and you're inherently this like magical, mystified, violent thing. And so whatever we do with you is in your own interest. But completely missing out why any of this is created and why the conditions are the way they are, I think is very sad. And I wanted to ask, with that being said, what can we do in the West and Belly of the East to combat the social stereotypes, I guess, but also like really move the needle on Haiti and being allied against who are you for?
Yeah, so one of the things that the Black Alliance for Peace has started is the Zone of Peace campaign. Last year, we launched it April 4th in Cuba, here in DC, and then also Port-au-Prince, Haiti, with one of our member organizations, Molotov. They're in Haiti, and they are a workers-led Marxist-Leninist Haitian group, so very sharp, very clear. But when we launched the Zone of Peace, it followed the initial call for a zone of peace that happened in Cuba 14 years prior. And like I said about these sort of institutions and CELAC and CARICOM, and sort of you might get lucky one year, because when Aristide was removed in 2004, the head of CARICOM at that time, and then Maxine Waters, they got on a plane to go to Central African Republic to go get Aristide. So there's times where you can find a more progressive figure, but I think what we found is that it's too dependent on the necessity of hoping we get a progressive in that space, right? Where's the grassroots bottom up sort of call from our movements for a zone of peace? And how do we activate a grassroots bottom up call? So when we launched from these specific places, it was for the intent that we activate grassroots movements to sort of create a bottom up sort of structure. But what the demands of that is not only the demilitarization, obviously, and self-determination and self-sovereignty, but specific demands around ending the sanctions, closing Guantanamo Bay, and then also the the actual sovereignty, removal of the core group out of Haiti, removal of OAS out of Haiti, so that they can start to breathe and make decisions. Because right now they're being constrained in a multitude of ways. And we see the Zone of Peace campaign as being ways that we discuss not only Haiti and what's happening in Haiti, but talking about Haiti as a laboratory, so that we can also, like I mentioned, if Nicaragua can remove the Organization of American States so that they have no influence on their elections, why can't Haiti? So just to get these groups in Nicaragua, in conversation with groups in Haiti, in conversation with groups in Venezuela, in conversation with groups here, to expand on the Zone of Peace, where we're connecting SOUTHCOM, which is the Southern Command, which it particularly hits the Latin American and Caribbean region, which is expanding drastically, now headed by an African man, a Black man. So yay for representation. But he's the first Black. But we see that not different from the 1033 program here, that allows for these military grade surplus weapons to come into our local police departments. Or like when I talked about the GFA, Global Fragilities Act, and the Safer for Americas Act, being one and the same in terms of language, but then also how they intend to carry out these policies. So bringing these things forward and having groups talk to one another about different plans. And right now in our strategic planning, it is about talking about Southcom and its sort of overall militarization, because we have cop cities coming here. So if we're talking about self-determination and sovereignty for Latin America and Caribbean, what about here? We don't have any. And for us as Africans, especially in BAP, many of us understand ourselves as internally or domestically colonized, just based on politically, economically, and socially, the constraints that we're under. So in that way, we could see ourselves in a similar, if not same, struggle, because the primary contradiction, whether here, Haiti, Burkina Faso, Palestine, it is imperialism. And imperialism, domestically and globally, play a role as counterparts. So a lot of what we do, especially with that campaign, is bring that forward through popular education, through political education, through actual strategic planning. Um, we've done a plethora of webinars where we're connecting Haiti to Puerto Rico, Haiti to Palestine, Haiti to Congo, just so that we emphasize that these struggles are interlinked, right? They may not be exact, but the foundation is the same and the root is the same. And how we, and for all of us, I think the objection, or excuse me, the objective of liberation requires derooting. Also, I brought some information too on Donor Peace Campaign here, and there's also we have our Haiti zine, so we talk more in depth about how we got to the situation and things like that. And there's some like headline news.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo what Ola just mentioned. It's very informative, so thank you for that. I'm wondering in your efforts with political education and just raising awareness or advocating, what is your experience with like the diaspora, like the Haitian diaspora that live here, in terms of specifically tackling the issue from the framework that you're describing, that the colonialism or the imperialism, like from that framework. And I'm asking that because just my experience with Eritrean and Ethiopian diaspora is very that's not how they approach it when they're at least those that are out there advocating. So I'm wondering how that's.
Well, I know from experience, the Eritrean diaspora is is very interesting. But I think to that point, all diasporas have this sort of there's two sects, right? There is some that are quite reactionary in the sense that they are propagandized no less than any other person in this country. So, and then there are instances where many, and I can say that at least for the Haitian diaspora, the conditions of Haiti, there's many of them who've never been to Haiti, or they've only ever traveled to Haiti on vacation. They're not rooted in Haiti, but they have a deep love for Haiti. So they approach Haiti as a humanitarian issue, because they have, because they're Haitian, so they feel it culturally, they feel that connection, but there's no in-depth understanding. And I think that that's really the case for a lot of the diaspora here, especially if you've been here long enough. And I think it also, I'm interested into because the CNN plays everywhere, right? So I'm also interested into how much of that affects what they're actually seeing versus, because we could step outside and see something clear as day and then turn on MSNBC and they say something different. So I'm also wondering in terms of their own home propaganda, what is happening there. But as far as the diaspora is concerned, I know there was a conversation most recently about the possibility of allowing Haitian diaspora to vote in elections in Haiti. And a lot of countries do that, especially in the Caribbean and Latin America. But to that point, what would that mean for Haiti? Because a lot of what's happening in Haiti right now is being led by the Haitian diaspora, especially in that nonprofit NGO circuit. And that has not fared well for Haiti because people have their own objectives, their own interests. and they have their own goals for Haiti, more or less, of what they would like to see accomplished there that really has nothing to do with what the people themselves want on in Haiti. But because they are Haitian, they feel as though that they have the voice to speak and say that. Because even for me, I'm not Haitian, I'm Trinidadian, but I am not Haitian. So if I am in a discussion with a Haitian person, that is something that they would say, but you're not Haitian. You don't understand. And but that's no different from what I would get from a Casano or someone from Nicaragua who's right wing, you know. They anybody would hit you with identity first, or try to make their lived experience the analysis for how we should be understanding a condition. But, as Africans here, are we in agreement with Tim Scott? Because we're all Black. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people can have different ideas about how they understand or interpret things, but the fundamental, there's things that are not subjective. There are objective facts and truths. And I think, you can only be honest about it, but how people receive you, it depends. Some people are less tame in how they react to that, because especially there's a particular pride in what they are connected to, even if they don't understand certain things. And there's a, ego attached to that too. Like, don't tell me I'm ignorant about my own people kind of thing, even if that's not your approach. So that's been more or less my experience. But we have a lot of Haitians on the Haiti America team. Molotov exists that we work with. So I know that there is, that is not all. There are Haitians who understand it clearly for what it is and are attempting to break the change of Western hegemony on their nation.
Yeah, see, Hal has hand up. I think Anna had her hand up earlier too, but we can go to Hal first, just since he's virtual. Yeah, Hal.
All right, hey, thanks. Can you hear me okay here?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask you real quick, if I can just screen share, Jake, for just a sec? I just have an image. It's not critical, but if you let me for just a moment, I want to just show it because it's kind of pertinent to the question.
Say it was a video?
It's a picture. It's just an image, one quick image. It's not a video. I just want to put it on the screen.
Regret this, Hal.
I don't think you'll regret it. I hope not, although I've certainly made you regret things in the past. Let me see if I can even find my.
I think I just made you co-host, so now you should be able to screen share.
Okay, so I have to choose. No, see, that's not what that's clearly not right. I'm probably messing something up.
No, it's okay. Just do like whole screen or whatever when it asks you what you want to, and then
I just want to show my desktop, but for some reason it doesn't. Well, let me do this. I'm going to open the image. Yeah, it doesn't. Well, it's okay. I'll just tell you what it is. It doesn't matter.
Or Hal, if you could try to play around with it. We could do Anna's question in the meantime.
No, it's okay. I'll just tell you, it's not worth the trouble that I'm putting everyone through. It's just a picture of Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State visiting a sweatshop in Haiti. And you mentioned, and I want to thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. I mean, it's such a sad, tragic history of what colonialism from, whatever, 1600 or whenever the French or whoever took over Haiti and to the present day. But as you mentioned, Kamala Harris bears some of the blame. The Clintons bear, for today. So the Democrat Party is as complicit, as guilty. I have a political question. I'm pushing this myself, but it's rhetorical. Is it time now where we have to say we cannot?
One second.
Columbia branch. The library will be closing in 15 minutes at 9 o'clock. If you have items to check out, please bring them to the self-checkout station or the customer service desk at this time. If you are using a computer, please print or save your work as all computers will.
I don't know if you guys can hear it on Zoom,
Yeah,
but there's
very loud. Very loud. Okay, I'm sorry for being so long. Is it time? I think you even used the word duopoly. Is it time that we have to move past the duopoly and come up with an alternative political solution for Haiti's sake, for our sake, for the world's sake?
Yeah, no, I agree. Just to quickly respond, I think seeing the potential of Marco Rubio, I know that puts people in a sort of heightened sort of predicament, but I do think it's important to know that his role primarily in that region, because he has been very busy for a long time. And I say that to say that he's been allowed to make policy in that region for the last 4 years. that has been bipartisan policy on the ways that they have sanctioned countries that have been critical in support of Haiti, like Nicaragua, like the continuation of going after Cuba with putting it on a sponsored terrorism list. So I think that just emphasizes all the more need for how critical a campaign that was started under a Biden administration continue to be carried out and built under this administration, primarily because we know what's ahead and what's coming. So it's going to take more people and more hands on deck.
Thank you. Good point, and question, Hal, and, yeah, no, agreed with what you said, Erica, but Anna, I know you had, did you have your hand up earlier?
Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to mention that I recently discovered that the US sanctions 60% of the poorest countries in the world. And that I was shocked to hear such. I mean, kick them down, kick them while they're down, right? Make sure that they don't get backed up and continue looting and stealing from those countries.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just this is the type of information that we need to get out to the public in general. I'm thinking of like just printing some of these facts, like, okay, France forced Haiti to pay what was it, $20 billion.
Yeah, and reparations.
And just like putting it on my back windshield. People can read as they drive. And maybe that'll, these little things, because I feel like, people are curious, and when they see these things, they, want to look into it. Not everyone, but some. Again, just making people more aware.
Mhm.
But it's just, thank you so much for this, for the opportunity to learn more about this.
Thank you.
So yeah, unless, as people heard the announcement, we do have a hard stop time we're supposed to be like out of the building by 9. And so unless there are any last comments, questions, for Erica or just in general, but I agree, Erica, that was, very, very informative. You can go like that, man. Yeah, no, that was, thank you, Erica. And as she mentioned, they have Black Alliance for Peace has some literature up there. It looks like you guys actually have an event like 2 days from now.
Yes, on Saturday. So speaking of the duopoly, we are going to be talking about that this weekend at the town hall. Yeah, we have a town hall, the duopoly's impact, working against the African working class, where we are going to be having these discussions about what are we going to do now. I think we've had quite enough post-election conversation that is just around what happened, right? We need to be discussing what are we going to do now, since we know what's coming, and start to get prepared. And what does that look like to create possibly a united front around all of these positions that we have, connecting the Palestinian movement with this movement, with the Zone of Peace movement, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, yeah, come out, have the discussion about third parties. I think we will be, PSL will be joining us as well. We have Ujima People's Progress Party. We also have Pan-African Community Action in DC that advocates for community control. So we have some options to talk about real substantial movement as opposed to staying stagnant. So I hope you all come out, take a flyer, take some of the propaganda, and thank you again.
Thank you. Unless, if there's no other comments, questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor, aye. All right. All opposed, no. All right, motion. Thank you, everybody.